Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, and today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Mary from CZT Barbara Duel Johnson. All right. Super cute, of course. All right, this starts off with a cluster of orbs in the center of wherever you want it. I'll try to do some different sizes, but it'd be nice if I didn't do like that, but that's okay. And it doesn't even have to be a round circle, a round cluster. Just however they're going to cluster. Okay, then with some S shapes, we're going to do some spokes coming from here. Let's see, I can maybe disguise that little thing. S-ish type shapes. And Barbara has 5 coming out from that center. Oh, there we go. And then with some, let me look back at hers. Yeah, I kept doing them a little bit differently, but they still ended up the same. So kind of like a C shape. A little bit, so pick a spoke, any spoke. And so I'm going to start here and kind of a C shape. I'll put a little flare on the end on either side, like that. Going around. And if you miss that tip, that's okay. You can always do like that, right? Add to it. And the nice thing is, I mean, because it's Zentangle, and too, because I think because it's an organic flowery type shape, things don't have to be, they really don't have to be perfect. All right, next, in between, same thing. Some additional spokes. And again, same thing. I'm going to hide this one behind. Let's see. These ones just like a little bit thinner. It adds some nice, well, contrast, not in the same way that we usually do contrast, which is adding black. Just a darkness. But look there, that looks so cute. Like so. And then I ended up doing this. These are just C-shaped curve lines. And so I ended up doing them like, kind of connected just because. So in each, well, leaf or petal, whichever way you want to say it. You could also do it, we're going to put these C shapes. You could also do it like this. Separate them if you want. I was just finding it easier to do it this way. Have to do it carefully though, because sometimes when doing that, I miss. And of course you can separate them, however you want to do. And do take a look at the For More Inspiration link to see the step out and samples from Barbara's hand. Some of me was thinking, but my hand doesn't want to do it. Well, I guess it is kind of to make the original ones maybe a little further apart and these inner ones a little tighter, kind of adding to, well, we'll be doing some shading, of course. But I was thinking that would add another layer of shading. This is a nice one that I like, the ones where I can kind of, you know, do it once and then, you know, the step out, it's like committed to memory, so to speak, where I don't have to constantly be looking back at it. And I like that because it also affords us, especially if you're using Zentangle for a meditative aid, it really helps in that, because, you know, every time you go back and you have to look at the step out, it kind of breaks that flow a bit. And then two, it's nice, you're just focusing on each stroke and not having to really think about anything else. And this, well, it looks busy at the moment. When we get to some shade, well, see, there's one missed. I have to have at least one in. It would not be normal otherwise. The hand is saying, don't get too big for your britches there. I was also thinking, you know, and, well, I guess maybe it's just because of the shading. One of the samples that Barbara has in color, it looks like these lines, the first two steps we did, the outer lines, everything except for this bit, the filler that I'm doing, could do that in a thicker pen. It almost looks like she did, but she did it with, it looks like, yeah, she tangled with colored pens and then shaded with those colors. And so it gives the impression that those lines are thicker, but that's not a bad idea. You know, and two, anytime, if you feel like your work is like, it's just too busy, I don't like, where you just feel like it's such a mess, pick something and take a little bit thick. Well, you could redefine it with whatever pen you have too. It doesn't have to be a thicker nib or anything, but it's amazing what happens. And I've done it on some of these videos, but yeah, it's just remarkable. Now the first, you know what? I like this idea better. Sorry. I'm looking at her it's her finished work, and these, and I'm going to do that kind of like the Bronx cheer, where I'm just going to filling in, actually it feels like it's more like a scribble, and just leave that little bit open wherever it ends up, like that. And then, see, just like the Bronx cheer, you know, you could go over something if you wanted to neaten it up like that. And if you don't know, you can search the channel here for Bronx cheer, and it is the ultimate in, well, yeah, I think it was the first course corrector that I learned. And so you would do something like this, where you're just filling in, you know, it's like I said, it's kind of a scribble, but it's like Zentangle, scribble with a purpose, and you just put a little cluster over whatever it is that you want to cover. And then at the end, you just put a little wispy line. You could put two if you want to, and it looks like you meant it. So I kind of like this with the darker center there. I really like that. Okay, and then first off, because everything is essentially tucked into that center, we shall add some graphite around it, just a little bit, and then you know what? Let's see. You know, I'm going to start with the tips because I know I want to do that. So putting a little bit of graphite on the tips. I'm debating between kind of like going on the perimeter to make them look a bit rounded, or could put some graphite down the center. So when I am debating on something, it's like, well, let me do what I know I want to do and ponder, and then two, in doing this, sometimes it makes it clearer what direction I want to go. Well, and here's another for sure. These little guys that are tucked in, I'm going to put some heavier graphite, especially right down here in these crevices. And we'll bring it out just a little bit. Because they are tucked in. Like that. All right. Yeah, and I think, let's do what I was thinking. I'm going to start with just the big ones. The other ones, I might just drag the graphite that's there already, as to not have the graphite remorse. And I'm just doing one side here first. And I'm kind of taking the lead from what Barbara did in her sample. Yeah, because hers, it looks like it's just the one side, and I'm kind of liking that. All right, and let's just do, like I said, with what's left on the Tortillion, on the smaller ones. I like that. Yeah, it gives it a different kind of a bendiness to it. Well, I'm gonna leave it like that for a minute and ponder it. And while I do that, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please click on the like button. And if you liked it enough to see more, would love to have you be a subscriber to the channel. I mentioned the description section for links to the step outs. Below that is my link tree, and there you'll find a bunch of resources. First and foremost, you'll find links to classes. So if you would like to come and tangle with me and a bunch of other tangle addicts, there are 2 links there where I post classes regularly. I teach on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Starting times are the same for everything, 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern time. Thursday, I mentioned first because those are the free classes. And I would take a tangle or 2 and we just play with it and have fun. And it's just I think I said it already, just an hour. On Tuesday, the 3rd Tuesday of the month, that is also free. It's called Tough Tangle Tuesday, where we tackle some of the tougher tangles. And I have kind of a loose list of criteria that, for what I consider tough. And it's still a lot of fun. And then the other ones on Tuesdays generally have a fee. They are at least an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, just depending on what we are doing. Sometimes we'll focus on a technique and hone it. And then other times it's kind of like project based, where it's, for instance, we just had crafting with festive tangles. So that was creating ornaments and, different things that we can do. Because the time of this recording, it's December. And because it's just fun to share a bit of Zentangle with, your friends and family. And so we came up, with a bunch of ideas and on things that you could do to do just that. So that just as an idea of what we do. Also there we have a community group on Facebook. And so if you'd like to join us, find that link, click it, answer the 4 questions, and as soon as I see it, we will let you in. Yeah, and that was my buying time as I was pondering this to decide if I wanted to leave it as it is, and I think I'm gonna. I really like it. And again, I hope you did too. All right, so with that, thank you again so much for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.